Have you ever wondered why people would pay thousands of dollars for shoes that they will never wear? Or why your favorite brand almost went bankrupt? What you're about to discover will change how you see sneakers forever. These aren't just fun facts, these are mind-blowing facts that billion-dollar companies don't want you to know. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never see your sneakers the same way again. Let's start with something that will absolutely shock you. Michael Jordan, the greatest, the best basketball player of all time. The man whose name is on the most famous sneakers ever made. And he didn't want to work with Nike. Not even close. Jordan was completely obsessed over Adidas. He wore their shoes in college, he loved everything about Adidas, and he was almost 100% convinced that that's where he belongs. And that's where things became crazy, because Adidas saw the rookie Michael Jordan and said, "Nah, we don't need them, we're good." Can you imagine being that wrong about someone? Jordan even offered a simple deal to Adidas. He told them, "If you gave me the same deal that Nike wants, then I'm all yours." But Adidas couldn't even come close. Not even in the same ballpark. Nike offered Jordan a groundbreaking 5-year deal worth $7 million. Plus stock option and his own signature shoe. For comparison, at that time, the biggest sneaker deal was just $150,000 a year. Nike was offering more than 3 times that amount. Plus, something that nobody has ever seen before. Complete creative control over his shoes. Jordan's mom literally had to force him to go and meet with Nike because Jordan didn't want to. But as you know, that meeting changed everything. By year 1, Nike expected to sell $3 million worth of Nike Air Jordans over 4 years. And they sold $126 million in the first year alone. Today, Michael Jordan makes more money from Nike in 1 year than his whole NBA salary combined. We're talking about $2.4 billion and counting. And here's what's even crazier about brand loyalty. You know Reebok, right? That name that sounds so modern and athletic. Well, it's actually named after an African gazelle named Reebok. 2 grandsons found that word in a dictionary in 1985, picked it because it symbolized speed and agility, and created one of the biggest sports brands. Sometimes the most successful ideas come from unexpected places. Speaking of unexpected, let me tell you about something that will make you question everything you know about business timing. Nike noticed that teenagers were skipping class to wait in line for new sneaker releases. Instead of, for example, ignoring it or trying to stop it, no. Nike decided to make one of the most brilliant moves ever done in the sneaker culture. They moved every single major release for Saturdays. Just think about it, Nike could have made more money by releasing shoes on weekdays, for example, when adults were working and had disposable income. But they decided to prioritize teenagers because that's the future of the brand. This single decision created the whole weekend sneaker drop culture that still exists today. Every Saturday release, every sneakers app drop, and every camping out overnight for new sneakers, well, it's all started because Nike decided to prioritize teenagers. Now here's a story that sounds completely made up, but I assure you that it's 100% real. New Balance, a company worth billions of dollars. It got its breakthrough innovation from watching chickens. The founder, William Riley, was just sitting on his backyard in 1906, watching chicken walk around. When he had his insight moment, he noticed that chicken had perfect balance because they stand on 3 claws. Not 2 like most sneaker designs at that time. Riley was so convinced that that was just so innovative that he kept real chicken feet on his desk to demonstrate the 3 support point system to customers. The chicken-inspired design became the foundation of New Balance success, and it's still used until today. From stupid observations to billion-dollar empires, sometimes genius comes from the most ordinary places. But not every company gets a happy ending, at least not right away. Vans, the brand synonymous to skateboarding and cool California culture, it completely crashed and burned in 1984. They filed for bankruptcy with over $12 million in debt. The bank demanded almost $7 million instantly, and Vans just couldn't pay. The company that helped define skateboarding culture was literally about to disappear forever. And what went wrong, you might be asking? Well, success happened way too fast. Vans got greedy. They started making everything, not just their core skateboarding shoes that everyone loved, but hundreds of products that nobody wanted. They lost focus, overspent, and almost lost everything. It took 3 years of brutal restructuring, where employees reportedly had to bring their own toilet paper because the company just was cutting every single expense. But here's the incredible part, because when they came back even stronger. They focused on what they did the best. They produced 2 million shoes in the first year alone and generated over $50 million. Sometimes losing everything is exactly what you need to remember who you really are. The bankruptcy story gets even more interesting when you learn about Converse during World War II. When war started, Converse stopped making sneakers and switched to manufacturing military gear. They made boots, rubber protective soles, and even created lightweight jungle sneakers for the US Marine fighting in the Pacific. These sneakers were designed for stealth and quick drying in wet environments. Basically the first tactical sneakers ever made. After the war, Converse went back to making regular sneakers, and the Chuck Taylor model became something never seen in the retail history. Are you ready for a number that will absolutely blow your mind? The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star is the best-selling sneakers of all time, with over 1 billion pairs sold. To put that in perspective, if you line up every Chuck Taylor model ever made, they would circle the earth multiple times. What started as a basketball shoes in the 1920s became a cultural phenomenon in every single way possible. The Ramones wore them, basketball players wore them, your grandparents probably wore them as well, and kids are still wearing them today. Now let's talk about something that will make you paranoid about your next sneaker purchase. The most counterfeit pair of all time is the Easy Boost 350 V2 in the zebra colorway. The fake market in this pair is so massive and sophisticated that even experts sometimes struggle to tell the difference. And we're not talking about obvious knockoffs sold on street corners. These are high-quality replicas that fool sneaker stores, sneaker resellers, and even some authentication services. The counterfeit sneaker market is worth over $30 billion annually. That means that for every 3 real sneakers sold, there's probably 1 fake being sold somewhere. The level of detail in these fakes is just terrifying. They copy absolutely everything, from the boost sole texture to the UV light reaction to the weight of the size tag. Okay, now here's something that will make you laugh and probably make you feel a little bit attacked. Nike most iconic running shoes almost never existed because nobody at Nike thought that it was a great shoe. The Air Max line with visible air cushioning almost never existed because it faced internal resistance. Nike executives looked at a prototype and basically said, "Why would anyone want to see air bubbles in their shoes? This just looks weird and won't sell." They thought that visible technology would be a gimmick and that customers would just reject. And they were so wrong about it that it's almost funny. The Air Max series became one of the Nike's most successful and longest running lines ever, spawning countless variations and collaborations. Sometimes the best innovations are the ones that everyone tells you that won't work. But here's the most mind-bending story of all, and it involves a name that might make you feel uncomfortable once you know the truth. The Nike Cortez, one of Nike's most recognizable shoes ever made. They were originally to be called Aztec, as a tribute to the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. But Adidas already had a pair called Aztec Gold and threatened to sue it. So Nike's founders had to come up with a name fast, and they asked themselves, who defeated the Aztecs? And the answer was Hernan Cortez, a Spanish conquistador that defeated the Aztecs with one of the most brutal tactics in history. Nike essentially named the shoe after one of the world's most violent colonizers of all time as a direct message to Adidas. They were sending the message that they were ready to conquer their competition, just like Cortez conquered the Aztecs. And the craziest part? This shoe, named after a conquistador, became a massive cultural symbol in Los Angeles, particularly in Latino communities, whose ancestors were people that Cortez defeated. The Nike Cortez became so associated with Los Angeles street culture that it transcended its problematic origins and became something completely different, a symbol of resilience and identity for the communities that claimed it. What's fascinating is how these stories reveal real psychology behind every sneaker obsession. It's not really about shoes at all. When Michael Jordan almost signed with Adidas, he wasn't just choosing his footwear. He was choosing his identity. When Nike moved schedules to Saturdays, they weren't just changing schedules, they were building a culture. When New Balance was studying chicken feet, they weren't just improving art support, they were revolutionizing how we see balance. Every sneaker tells a story about innovation, failure, comeback, dreams and identity. That's why people camp out for days for new shoes. That's why certain sneakers are sold for more than cars. That's why a simple piece of rubber and fabric can make someone feel powerful, confident and even connected to something that's bigger than themselves. The sneaker industry today is worth over $300 billion globally, but it all started with someone who was just trying to improve something. How to make athletes run faster, how to help workers stand longer, how to give something to teenagers to make them feel special. These 10 facts show us that behind every successful brand, there's a story of luck, of mistakes, of brilliant observations, and sometimes of unexpected success. What's your favorite sneaker brand? Did any of these stories change what do you think about shoes? Let me know it down below in the comment section. And if you want to know more stories about the brands and the products that shape our world, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and to turn the notifications. Because trust me, there's so much more secrets hidden in plain sight and I just can't wait to share them with you.